Hello, everyone. Welcome back to What Would It Cost? Today, I'm here with Deshae Maitland, and he's a nightlife and hospitality enthusiast and entrepreneur that's got a really big portfolio, has a lot of moving parts in it, is award-winning, and we have a mentorship program going on right now.
Do. Yeah.
And I'm very proud and grateful to be able to call this gentleman my mentee. And I have a lot of fun working with him on an ongoing basis, and he's absolutely crushing it. And we're going to get into that right now. So, thank you for tuning in.
Awesome.
So, take me back to where it all started, what motivated you, and what keeps you going right now, right? Like, I know that you got an extensive resume in the nightlife and hospitality space.
Yeah.
You have an amazing network. You're putting in that work day in, day out, and you're crushing it, right? Mm-hmm. Most recently bringing on some new ventures and vertically integrating and adding to the portfolio, which is fantastic. But bring me back. Where did it all start? And take me through the journey, brother.
Good. That's a good segue in. So where it all started, when I was 14, 15.
Okay.
Coming out of elementary school, going in high school.
Yeah.
So like grade 9. And basically, my family raised me in the church, so I was always at the church a lot. And then I got introduced to the nightlife, and I got super obsessed with it. And how I became a promoter is, long story short, I used to wait in the long lineups in these clubs, like very long. And it would take forever to get in. I used to see people skip these lines. And I'm like, who are these people? I've never heard of them. They're not like celebrities or anything. And then someone introduced me to a promoter that worked at the venue that I used to go to every week in the summer. And then basically he just put me on the game of like how to promote, how to run a business, like in the nightlife business. And that's literally how it started.
Very cool. Very cool.
As you know, I worked for your company. Yeah. As I got older.
And I guess that was your first over 19 venture?
That was my 19 venture. Yeah.
Right. Energy Mississauga.
Energy Mississauga, yeah. So I used to run Mississauga for your company.
Yeah.
And like I saw how you like put on your guys and gave them like great advice and gave them like motivation to really do this,
Yeah, yeah. So which was great too. Like you did an awesome job with building out Energy Mississauga when you were rocking and rolling with Energy. It was on a consistent basis. It was something that you can expect multiple buses from your end, booths,
tables,
guest list, and that's not so standard, right? If anyone knows nightlife and hospitality, the consistency on bringing out the volume and the spend per head is an ongoing challenge, right? But that was something that you were able to really perform at, and at a level that was, something that no one else can really compete with.
For sure. But the great thing about it is I liked how you brought the best out of people,
right?
And show them to really mold them in their strengths, which is what I think the greatest leader, an attribute that you contributed to Energy, actually.
I appreciate that. Yeah. No, and I'm a big believer in that, because if you find one's strengths and what it is they love to do, and you just equip them with the tools that they need and the resources and the confidence, and it's a beautiful thing to watch them crush it, right? So I was able to watch you do that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm still able to watch you do that. As I'm following you on the Instagram, as we stay in touch and do our ongoing mentor-mentee calls or meetings or whatnot, it's a beautiful thing to see the natural progression of you continuing to put your best foot forward in the space, right? And can tell you've come a long way, right?
Yeah, because I loved a lot about the branding and marketing that you had for your company. Like the Energy was super huge. Consecutive wins in the Toronto Nightclub Awards as best promoter. A lot of your staff are winning a lot of awards too. So that's something that inspired me to really, with my company that I started, Dynasty, and I used the same system and obviously resources that you put in my lap at the time.
Yeah.
And now I put it into my guys, so
it's good, man.
It's been doing really well.
It's good. Still working.
Yeah. It's not outdated.
It still works, the process.
It's not outdated.
Yeah. Good. So most recently you brought on Snow Allure, which is a premium vodka brand. There's some investors, foreign investors that have broken into the market through that product. So tell me a little bit more about what the partnership looks like, what you are going to contribute, what the end goal is. I think it's super cool that you've vertically integrated in that regard.
For sure.
Because there's so much upside in it, and it just works so complementary and hand in hand with your existing business, right?
Yeah, for sure. So how it started was I was at one of my events, and I was selling it with, like, nonchalant, and people were just buying it. And the owner saw that, and he's like, "Who are you?" And I'm just like, "Oh, I'm just a promoter. I own a company. My name's Deshae," and I introduced myself. And he's like, "I would love to have you on the team." So at first, he just wanted me to sell his product at the venue that I worked for.
Okay.
And then I was doing so well at it that he asked me to actually be a partner, and I could get shares of the company. And ever since then, like, we've been going on negotiations back and forth. It's been a while, but we're gonna sign this week. And he also invests in some of my parties as well, which is pretty cool too. Like, we do some big acts here and there. Like, recently, next Friday at Port Else Burlington, I have Francesco Ferrago from Too Hot to Handle and Perfect Match. That's gonna be hosting one of my events, and he was one of the investors that I brought on.
Nice.
And
what did she cost?
What did she cost?
Yeah.
So I signed an NDA, so I can't disclose that information.
So I'll ask you after the podcast is done. Okay.
But it was a lot, though. I'll say that.
Right.
Because we posted one of her, like, she sent me 2 videos, one thanking me for having her, and then where she's going to be, and obviously, like, the location and everything. And it got over 230,000 views on TikTok.
Whoa.
Just her saying she's going to be there.
And so how are you doing
all
for,
in the
like,
Jeets.
booth sales and guest lists?
So we're almost sold out. We're almost sold out in 3 days. And it's pretty impressive. So, and the crazy thing is, all girls that are literally buying tickets, booking tables. Like, it's nuts.
Really?
She has a huge following. Yeah, I didn't think it was that big. I knew she was big. She has like 6 or 7 million on Instagram, a couple mil on TikTok, a couple mil on YouTube.
Yeah.
But like, I didn't see it was gonna go viral, like the videos,
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool to have like a caliber like that at one of your events. So I'm super excited for that.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Because I know you used to do it back in the day. You used to book a lot of talent.
Anywhere from a local DJ up to Drake, bro.
I know,
and
that's
anything
huge.
in between, right?
That's huge, yeah.
No, and obviously that's what you need.
You got to work
have
your way
happen.
up.
Yeah, you need to have that happen these days to be able to pull a crowd. It's so hyper competitive, and not only that, but like this new generation is so spoiled, where their expectations are so high on trying to get them in through the doors. So you got to layer in solid entertainment, you got to layer in good promotion, you got to layer in sick venue, you got to layer in world-class talent. You know
lots
what I mean?
Lots of layers
like,
there.
holy smokes, with all the stuff you got to do to pull a crowd through the door is insane. So I see you doing it ongoing, which is not easy, but leveraging, relationships for sponsorship dollars so you're able to offset cost and bring these experiences to life is what you're doing, and it's brilliant because it's what works, right?
Right.
Yeah, very cool.
It's pretty crazy how everything is all aligning.
Yeah.
Obviously, it didn't come overnight. Been doing it over 10 years.
Yeah.
So it's not overnight success.
Yeah, of course.
Or some people might see it as that, but I've been working hard since I was 14, 15. Now I'm 28, so 13 years in the game.
That's good, man. That's good. How are all the boys downtown? They're all right?
Yeah, they're good. Yeah.
That's good.
Paul says hi.
Does he? Yeah. Came by last week for a coffee. He's around the area.
Oh, nice.
So what do you guys want to do with that? You want to sell it in 3 to 5 years, you were saying, before the podcast started, right?
That's the goal.
Okay.
As soon as we
give me like high level. What's the value of it right now in regards to what a share is worth? The
I think
overall
it's
company. What do you want to get it to?
They invested about 1 to 1.2 million.
Okay.
Their initial investment to literally bring it to Canada.
Okay.
I think some of it was government funding, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
Because they got a few grants, and it's actually produced in Ontario, which is
nice.
really good too. Because they're teaching me more about the business, the alcohol business, where a lot of it in Canada is coming from the States, and the companies that own it are from the States too.
Right.
So they want to bring that Canadian to LCBO, like their brand, the Canadian brand, and try to really outgrow it and let Canada support what they're doing as well.
Okay.
And literally, they just hired me to just grow the portfolio, bring it in the venues, sell as much as I can, get influencers to push it and promote it on their socials, and just do a ripple effect and try to really do big. They're actually one of my clients from our marketing agency, and then I was doing so well with it that they're like, we should give you a partnership. Because you might take it more seriously, right?
Yeah, good. A little bit incentive for you to leverage in every room you walk into and be able to add value. Smart, man. You partnered with the right guy.
Yeah.
That's good. No, and you know what? Like when you're moving into venues and you're bringing a lot of volume, or you're bringing special events, or it's a weekly, it's a residency, it's whatever it may be, right? Like you're able to tag that product along and say, hey, if I come here, right, would you consider potentially putting this on your shelf or in your rail, right?
Yeah.
Or if I do a special event here, and I have some sponsorship dollars to allocate, you know, is this a product that you can go exclusive with for that night when it comes to your vodka selection?
Yeah,
right?
just to give you an example, so the booking for the Francesca next Friday at Porthouse.
Yeah.
So I already have a cool activation that I'm gonna play with the snow lore, and basically, like, I have a banner of Dynasty and snow lore that's gonna be together. I've done that on my birthday with my billboard at Dundas Square. They're on it as well.
Yeah.
They're one of the investors to help me, obviously, like, put marketing dollars up for the billboard that I did for my birthday.
Yeah.
The 44 one. I'm not sure if you saw
Yeah,
it. Yeah. So for this one, for the Francesca, it's going to be a cool activation because I'm going to have like nice cups with snow lore logo on it, nice balloons, ice buckets, pop some bottles, and call it like a kind of like a snow lore party, right? With
Cool.
Francesca Fergo. So
Yeah. No, it's great for the product. For
sure. Yeah.
That's the stuff you got to do, right? You gotta leverage, and you got to tie it in on the right nights with the right themes, and make a bigger deal out of it than one would imagine, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, cool. So it's on 30 shelves, 30 LCBOs.
30 LCBOs across Ontario. We want to bring it in other provinces, and then eventually expand to the U.S. market and get someone out there to really pump it over there because it's privately owned. LCBO is a little bit tough because it's government owned, so like you can only sell a certain amount, and they only like bring in a certain amount as well.
Yeah. Margins are super thin too.
Yeah, super thin.
In LCBO.
LCBOs is just like a distributor is selling it to private entities or venues or establishments.
Yeah. So tell everyone a little bit about what you look to do in progressing your portfolio with the nightlife side of things. And are you going to be adding venues on? Are you going to be layering on more sub teams under the Dynasty promotion? Or are you going to be getting into restaurant? Like, what is, if you were to fast forward 10, 15 years, what does your portfolio consist of?
Yeah.
What do you look to do?
Well, for sure, I don't want to see a promoter. Obviously, you want to always go to the next level, just like what you did in the hospitality business.
Yeah.
So I obviously want to get into the venues at the right time because timing is everything. Right now, I'm just investing into real estate, and then I'm going to use that portfolio to invest back into the business and possibly open ventures like different venues, either in Toronto or Mississauga. So that's kind of where I see myself going, and then eventually starting a real hospitality company similar to like what you did and what Inc. is doing right now.
Right.
Yeah,
very cool. So the management company that oversees all the venues,
all the venues,
making sure that they're filled up and their service is solid and their product is
having the right partners, I think, would obviously make a huge difference as well, right?
Yeah,
the right partners are key.
Yeah. And now what does it cost to run a company like Dynasty on an ongoing basis? Look at it from a weekly standpoint, and what does that look like on an overall in regards to what those costs are?
So I feel like I'm a lot different than most promoters in this business. Yes, I do host venues just like other promoters do. I host 4 days a week, but also like run a venue on a Friday, which is Porthouse. So I always have Mississauga at least once a week on my portfolio, just because that's my market. I know it really well, and that's where I grew up. So that's where all my friends come from, Mississauga. So I always have a venue in Mississauga on my market, and honestly, like, you have so much staff that's included when you run a venue, because like you'll take certain deals that require to like cover a lot of the expenses. So for example, I'd be paying for anything from flyers, promoters, door girl, photographer, video, and any other costs that might come in, like acts or special performances or celebrities or whatever the case may be. But it could cost anywhere from, I'm sure it's 6 figures a year, because just paying someone alone is anywhere from like 60,000 to like 80,000 per year. Top guys on my team, that's how much they make right now. Mm-hmm. And then obviously you have your other soldiers that just like book a booth here and there. So you're not going to pay them as much, but you're still paying them. So I for sure would say to run my business, at least 6 figures a year.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Very cool. Very cool. And that's all to do with the promotion aspect.
That's just all to do with the promotion aspect. That's not including like just to run at the club. Like that, those costs are obviously separate.
Yeah.
But like just paying promoters alone is definitely over 6 figures. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Now, what are you seeing in the scene a lot? Are you seeing like the hip hop genre really take the lead in regards to what this new generation wants to hear when they're in clubs?
Yeah,
so the house music making a move back. Like,
I don't think so. No. So back then when I started, it was mostly house music. Yeah. And it's crazy. I love house music. Kind of uplifts you.
Yeah.
But now it's just dominated. Everything is hip hop. Everything on King Street is hip hop. I'm sure there's other venues that do other stuff, but 90% of clubs are now all hip hop. I just feel like that's the most dominant thing. But I do have a brand that I just started. I'm not sure if you saw. It's called Extravaganza.
Okay.
It's something I did on my birthday, and it's kind of like a Vegas theme. That's kind of how I came up with the idea of getting billboards, because one day I was on Vegas. I was on a Vegas trip, and I was on the strip in Las Vegas, and all I see is billboards everywhere. Yeah. I see Tiesto here. Yeah, I see huge. David Guetta over there. Like, it's just all these promoting different venues, right? Yeah. And I'm like, this is pretty cool. Like, you're promoting a venue on a billboard. I've never seen this. Yeah. I'm like, why don't I do that in Toronto? Right. And then I put the spin on it, and I'm like, well, it has to be something huge. Like, the party can't just be like just a small brand. It has to be something extravagant. Right. And then I'm like, yo, why don't I call it Extravaganza? And then with that theme, I'm like, well, if it's called Extravaganza, you got to do cool things. So I'm like, let me get a magician. Let me get a guy that swallows fire. Let me get a girl floating in the air. Let me get a robot. Let me get go-go dancers. And then it was just some whole crazy like theme party that everyone was dying to go to, which I did on my 27th birthday. Nice. And obviously, like, at that time, COVID was around, so it didn't really have the full impact that I wanted it, because they changed the times from 10 to 2 to 7 to 10, and then they restricted the amount of numbers you could bring in. So I couldn't really do the full activation on the party. So I'm like, why don't I do it in the summer? I feel like I could really bang it out with that. So I'm doing it for May 21st.
Nice. Yeah. And that's with Farrago.
No, Farrago is next Friday at Burlington, and then May 21st is Victoria Long Weekend. Okay. And that's going to be at Jungle, the club you used to know.
Nice. Naveen and the boys. How's Naveen doing?
He's doing well, yeah.
Shout out Naveen, man.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
He's awesome, bro, in so many different ways, right? He's literally the OG, right? And the way that guy runs, runs his operations, man, it's admirable to say the least, you know?
You have to tip your hat off to him.
Oh, 100%. So what does business look like outside of Toronto and Ontario? Are you going to take your talents anywhere else, or you want to stay focused in this market?
I definitely, like, I have done international stuff. Like, I've done a trip to Cuba with a lot of my friends. Okay. This is years before COVID, which was pretty cool. We did like 30, 40 people, just a dynasty trip. Yeah. Super dope. Made deals out there with the clubs. Had cool beach parties, so it was a lot of fun. But obviously, like, if I were to own a venue, I'd definitely want to do it in like the GTA for sure.
Yeah. Well, you know it like the back of your hand, right? Yeah. That's good. That's
for sure.
That's good.
But I just feel like what I'm doing now is pretty cool, because not a lot of people know, but for Porthouse they have other like locations. At one point they had 3 that called Porthouse, like, and they're all lakeshore locations, so they're all by the water. And last summer I was running all 3 at one point in one night. So I'd literally bounce around to different venues and go and like just see how it's operating. Cool. And obviously I had different people like allocating like their time and energy into each location. Yeah. And like running it for me. So I think that was a pretty cool thing. I'm still doing it right now, just Burlington and Port Credit location, which are, you know, really nice locations to say the least. Yeah. So
how's Port Credit?
Port Credit is beautiful, man. The crowd is really good too. I like Burlington a lot better though, because it's like just like people that don't really go to clubs, and then they go and they just let loose, you know, like they're just wild out there. So so it's cool. Just funny just to watching them. But like you always used to say, man, I love this business. You know, it's really something I enjoy doing. It's a passion of mine. I wouldn't change it for anything. And the greatest thing that you see at these venues is the smile on people's faces, you know. To get that smile out of them is just it's the best feeling in the world, you know. Everyone's stressed, they work a lot, and then they just let loose, like, and you're a part of that transaction. It's not really a money thing, it's more of an experience. So
And that's what's important, man. That's what's going to keep you going. That's what's going to keep your business thriving. That's what's going to keep people wanting to work with you or attend your parties, because that comes out of you, that energy and that vibration. People feel it, right? They gravitate towards it. And it's the famous quote and the famous saying, right? Find what you love to do and you'll never work another day in your life.
Steve Jobs,
again, right?
Yeah.
So 100%. It's relevant in every industry.
For
right?
sure.
Yeah.
You could say the same in the mortgage game too, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's not even so much the product that I'm in love with, right? And I'll say the same in the nightlife. It's not the product. It wasn't the alcohol that I was serving to someone that I loved. It's not the mortgage that I serve. It's the experience. It's the interaction with the people. It's the white glove service. It's the putting a smile on their face when they thought, something couldn't have happened and you made it happen.
Right.
Or when they were stressed out and you turned that mood into them being happy or appreciative, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, for me, number one is the team leading and the really building the culture and finding one's strengths and embracing them and seeing them become the best version of themselves. Like I get off on that.
For sure. I can relate to that because, for example, like I said before, the people that run the locations for me, like they make a lot of money doing it, but they enjoy it as well because I'm giving them like a big role to do it. So for example, I have a kid, he just turned 21 this year and he runs Burlington and he's so young and he's like, Deshae, like honestly, you changed my life for the better. I was in debt. You got me out of debt. I make good money and I enjoy doing it at the same time.
Check that out.
Same thing with my guy in Port Credit. So the guy in Burlington, his name is Jacob Vett. He does super well. And the guy in Port Credit's named CJ. They both run those two locations for me while I allocate my time doing other things.
Yeah.
And they both said the same thing. CJ said the same thing too. You changed my life for the better. Before I had no money. Like this guy used to come up to me with figures. We used to go out to figures. And I never used to pay him, right? But we used to have these fancy dinners. And like he's like, yo, I can barely afford this. And then like he looked back on that moment. He's like, I remember I used to come out with you to figures and I couldn't afford the meal. I used to buy the cheapest thing on the menu. And now like I'm partying in Miami with like NFL players, like through doing promotions. Yeah. Meeting these type of people, right?
Yeah, no, for the networking.
So it definitely changes your life for sure.
Yeah.
Like it depends how you look at it though.
No, listen, man, the networking piece it's crazy.
Yeah,
like what it could do for you in regards to help build that network and that foundation of people that you can then move on and do business with in other areas, right? Yeah. It's nuts, but
for sure.
Yeah, listen, man, and I've really enjoyed, mentoring you, right? And you referring to me as that. And it means the world to me because you're such a high performer and a good soul, and I'll continue to be that guy for you forever. Yeah. And I wanted to thank you today for coming on and for spending this time, with us and really opening up and letting us know what's going on in not only your life, but your business portfolio. And you're awesome, bro.
Yeah,
awesome.
I got to catch up to you with the awards though.
Yeah.
Give me four more years. I got 4 years right now.
4?
I got 4 years in a row.
We have 9.
Okay, so
yeah. You can't leave until you're 33.
Oh shit.
All right.
All right.
Well, if you want to beat me, 34.
Yeah. Okay.
You'll get it.
Buddy. What age did you get out?
You'll get it. I got out at 32. Totally. Oh, okay. Totally. No, sorry. What am I talking about? I got out at 31.
31. Okay.
31, I had fully transitioned. Oh, 31? Okay, I'm 24. We're in 2023. I got out 2019, the end, beginning of 2020, 3.5 years. 30, let's call it 30 and a half.
38?
Yeah, so about 3.5, almost 4 years now I've been out. Yeah, so, and again, right, like for me, it's not that I didn't enjoy moving and shaking in that industry anymore. I have 3 little ones now. I want to be, my number one priority is trying to be the best version of myself as a father figure for my kids. That schedule simply wasn't going to jive with me having to be home on the weekends and taking them to sports, spending time with them, home on the evenings to have dinner with them and put them to bed. Those are the times that you're out and you're in the clubs and you're in the restaurants. So for me, it was a no-brainer. But it was a tough transition because that's all that I had known. That's what I was doing, and I got really good at it. And we had a solid team, a big portfolio. But at the end of the day, nothing was gonna top that priority for me, right? So
Right.
walking away from it 30 and a half, and very glad and grateful I did. But at the same time, I have amazing memories. I've met some awesome people. I've learned so much. Everything that I learned from there, I apply it to Spark.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Yeah, you applied it to the company you're with now.
All day.
And we can see it because the growth is incredible, expanding in the Florida market too.
Yeah, thank you.
Some smart place.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. Yeah, I wasn't done with Florida when I got out of nightlife. I had those 2 clubs in Miami, and that was something that I had enjoyed thoroughly. And I knew when I got out of the industry, I said, I'm not done with that state or that country. I got to go back. Right?
It's a beautiful country.
Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff. But yeah, man. So anyway, listen. Tell the audience where they could see you, where they could find you, where they could follow along on your journey.
For sure.
And again, it was
so you
awesome.
can follow me, my personal account at Deshae Maitland on Instagram. My business page is Dynasty Affair on Instagram, and our website is dynastyaffair.com.
Very cool. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope you guys are having fun with the new style and format of these podcasts and bringing on entrepreneurs like Deshae that have diversified portfolios. And just continue to tune in, like, subscribe, because that's how we keep this movement moving.